Sometimes secrets are cool, sometimes they suck. This next list is somewhere right in the middle. Welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. Here are the top 10 unsettling things stored in top secret facilities. Kicking off the list at number 10, the Insectothopter. Great, now I gotta be paranoid that the government is spying on me through bugs. Sick. The Insectothopter is a dragonfly-looking robot. It was created back in the 70s, long before we were filming bowling alley videos with drones. This was a huge step in technology, believe it or not, but they unfortunately can never figure out how to beat those crosswinds. This Insectothopter is currently on display at the Washington International Spy Museum. Its flight range was around 650 feet, which isn't bad at all considering how long ago this tiny tech really took flight. It could only stay in the air for about a minute, and then at that point it was just a hidden camera that looked like a dragonfly, perched anywhere you felt like. That audio video could be fed back to a short distance to, a spy hiding in a nearby bush or something. You're thinking, this sounds pretty practical. Was this used often? Well, we don't really know. That's the best part of it. The dragonfly was also gas powered, so there was excess gas shooting out of this thing's ass. Yeah, I would notice this thing for sure. Number 9, CATFISH. I mentioned the Insectothopter, so obviously I have to mention the CIA's robot CATFISH. It's so specific for one job. Obviously this is not going to be used that often. What's the deal here? Okay, Charlie, yes of course it has a name, isn't like the rest of the fish in school. He's actually an undercover agent working for the CIA. This was the 90s when the CIA was trying to collect water samples in secret. So they would send Charlie Chaplips upstream by using wireless communications. And that's it. He didn't shoot lasers at people or anything. He was just a cool looking fish. He was busy, he had a job. He clocked in, clocked out, he's a family man. The inside of the CATFISH was chock full of high-tech 90s submarine tech. There's a pressure hull, a ballast system, the whole thing, all stuffed inside this 60-centimeter long CATFISH. Sometimes secret tech is cool, sometimes it's literally just this. It doesn't even look like a fish. They could have painted this definitely some more before they put it in the final drafts. Imagine this thing being the main device in a James Bond movie. How dumb would that be? Imagine he used this in the climax of Spectre. I'd see it again right away. Number 8, lightning. It's pretty difficult to catch lightning unless you're a witch or Ben Franklin. I'd say just don't attempt it. Can you believe at one point lightning was actually being stored as this secret weapon? Like it was a project? Lightning was a project for a weapon. Yeah, I guess Thor works for the CIA now. That's neat. Back in the late 60s, these scientists who remain anonymous, great, that's a good sign, can't imagine why, Thor I guess, they were determined to weaponize lightning. That way there was little to no evidence left over. The idea, as crazy as it sounds, is actually pretty genius. It never made it to its final stages, we think, but that's kind of a good thing. When Forbes released these declassified CIA files, we got a better idea of what was going on in the sky at that point. The plan was to drop these extremely thin metal wires from planes or rockets, so they would drop a metal fishing line basically through clouds while there was a storm going on. This sounds like a Looney Tunes heist. This sounds insane, but I think it may have worked. Sending that many volts of electricity down to an enemy camp, that would for sure mess up their communications if it worked. If. Number 7, secret iPod. Remember listening to your iPod Nano on the bus way back in the day? Your friend was sharing one headphone and then an embarrassing song came on and you're like, oh shit, that's just my sister's, sorry, we all share, LimeWire. Music is personal. Spotify is almost too personal, some would say. But have you heard of Apple's top secret iPod? Yeah, you can listen to Bruno Mars while you search for smuggled uranium. Finally, it's about damn time. Best of both worlds. Back in 2005, former Apple software engineer David Shayer, the tech giant, they partnered up with the US Department of Energy. This special iPod was designed to test radiation on the go without drawing any attention from the public. Imagine this thing in an Apple commercial, just dancing silhouettes, having a good time, and then one guy's like, huh. Number 6, off-road vehicles. Where we're going, we don't need roads. Alright, we're living in a pretty amazing time when it comes to space exploration. I'll clear that up real quick. Later this month, we're sending deep space telescopes off planet to see even more of our universe. 2020 was also the year where UFOs were just on the news, so that's neat, I guess. But what happens when these two worlds collide? Figuratively speaking, of course. Last March, an astrophysicist by the name of Eric Davis, he gave this classified briefing to the Defense Department mentioning these off-world vehicles. Okay, so you're thinking off-world vehicles, yeah, the ISS is technically one of those off-world vehicles. Spaceships aren't new there, bucko, good try. Well, he added the fact that these off-world vehicles were being made somewhere else, not on Earth. See, former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid is quoted in the Times article saying that he believes believes that crashes of objects of unknown origin may have occurred and that any recovered materials should be studied. Should, big word there. Eric Davis also once produced this report to try and convince the government to invest in time travel and use wormholes to achieve such a thing. So this guy knows some shit, for sure. He said he actually has studied these crashed materials himself, and his conclusion is that there's no way humans could have ever created any of these things. What do you think? Do you think we're studying crashed alien ships, or is this just a bunch of bogus? Let us know down below, you believers or non-believers. I'm genuinely curious. Is this a thing? Number 5, welcome to the Himalayas. This is a pretty wild theory as to why the ice caps are really melting in the Himalayas. I'm not sure you're ready for this one, so buckle in. Many moons ago, the United States and India worked together on this joint mission that ideally could allow them to keep track of China's nuclear development projects. They did so by installing these radioactive sensors in the Himalayas. They used isotope Pu-238 powered sensors, but when the weather got crazy, the team was of course forced to leave the Himalayas for a bit, and then upon arrival back to the site to finish setting up, all the radioactive materials were just gone. Suddenly, someone had taken them. Locals still believe that the reason the mountain caps are melting today is because of these plutonium devices still lost somewhere in the region. I panic when I lose my phone, let alone plutonium. We gotta figure this one out. Number 4. Military dolphins. Yes, I said military dolphins. We're gonna get weird at this point in the list. Iran has plenty of nuclear capabilities, but they also have trained dolphins now too, so good game, folks. Back in 2000, Iran bought this fleet of trained dolphins from Russia. Just Russians doing Russia things, you know? But they were trained supposedly by the Soviet Union to attack ships. And yes, of course, even people. They'll just headbutt their shit. We have Navy SEALs, and now we have military dolphins. Is this Aquaman 2? It feels like Aquaman 2. What's going on here? Well, recently, and I mean 2018 recently, satellite photos revealed a Russian naval base in Syria with pens that are commonly used for holding, you guessed it, dolphins. Yeah, Russia and the US have a fleet of trained dolphins to detect mines, but now Iran is in the mix too. Just dolphins everywhere. It's like military. Are we running out of dolphins? What's going on? The war on dolphins has to end. Number 3, private island. After watching the Fire Festival documentary, I'm never going to any cool island ever, period. Either dinosaurs will be there or Ja Rule. Either way, it's gonna be a bad time, it sounds like. Niihau, Hawaii, the smallest inhabited island, looks like a paradise from above, but we'll never know what it's like down there. Absolutely no tourists are allowed, no outsiders are allowed at all. It was sold by Hawaii's King Kamehameha back in 1863 to the Robinson family, but as of 1915, no outsiders were allowed in. There's about 130 people there now who are currently living without plumbing, without telephone lines, running water, all that good stuff. Even today, the island is still off bounds. What do you think they're hiding there? I mean, the Coast Guard is always patrolling the island too, so there's definitely something that we're missing. What do you guys think? Let us know before. Let us know before? Let us know before. I don't know, before something happens. Number 2, Berlin bust. Queen Nefertiti, aka the lost queen of Egypt, she had a pretty wild ride, especially when Germans came into the picture. Perhaps one of the most popular ancient sculptures of all time was found on December 6, 1913. German archaeologist Ludwig Borchardt found this bust of the lost queen on the floor of the Royal Sculptures Workshop. Now this figure has some unforgettable details. I mean, first of all, she's breathtaking. The blue, she looks like literal treasure. It was clear that this was the Queen Nefertiti right from the start. The German team split everything when they found it. They split it with the Egyptian government, so currently this bust is being held in Berlin. It draws in about 50,000 visitors a year to Berlin's Neues Museum. A little piece of Egypt all the way over there. Now, a fun little fact about the bust, back in 2009 there were scans done to it and it's revealed that underneath the painted layer is limestone carving of a woman. So detailed that you can see the wrinkles in her cheeks. There's even a bump on the nose. That's how good it is. Back in 2016, these two artists secretly 3D scanned the bust of the lost queen, and then they straight up released the files online like a free download. The future is here, I guess. That's a little invasive, but we'll take it. And finally, number 1, the Black Tomb. Back in 2018, remains were found by archaeologists. They found this massive black granite sarcophagus in Alexandria, and it hadn't been touched in over 2,000 years. So we decided to open it. Just cuz. They opened it and found 3 skeletons. Nice. 3, all for the price of 1. Oh, I'm gonna throw up. They also found this brown, reddish sewage water inside. You know, yeah, I don't wanna explain it. You know, half of them were expecting gold of some sorts, and then they opened it and they're like, oh, come on. They opened it 2 inches and the smell was so foul, everybody ran away. They couldn't even breathe. They needed gas masks just to go back and take a peek. What a red flag. 9 feet long and 5 feet wide, it was just a big granite bathtub full of bones and goop. But there were also 3 inscriptions, so we did find some cool stuff, not just stuff. These drawings on these small sheets of gold. One resembles a seed pod of an opium poppy inside of a shrine of some sorts. The other is a snake, an unhooded snake, usually connected to the goddess Isis, which is interesting because that same god is the one that Cleopatra had embodied this whole time. She would try and make herself look fancy to resemble that god. The last one is a palm branch or corn. Experts believe that it's related to themes of fertility and rebirth. Mustafa Waziri, Secretary General of the Supreme Council of Antiques, said in response to locals freaking out that, they opened this thing, they said, "Thank God the world has not fallen into darkness. I was the first guy to put my whole head inside the sarcophagus, and here I stand before you, and I'm fine." Awesome, good to hear. What year was that? 2018. Oh. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on Most Amazing Top 10. Those are some secrets that we probably shouldn't know, but I trust you. You won't tell. Comment down below if a part 2 is in your deepest desires, and I'll see you next time. I'm Taylor McWaters. Peace.